Dickwolves, fangirls, t-shirts that are made of suck. On this episode of Extraordinary, these are not the droids you're looking for.
100% cotton.
Dun dun!
So, let's say you're at a convention and you see someone wearing a shirt that's covered in Dickwolves, or a shirt that says, I like fangirls the way I like my coffee. I hate coffee. What is that a key indicator of, would you say?
Probably a key indicator of someone that's kind of a dick.
I would agree. What about you?
Is it people that hate executive producer of Law & Order, Dick Wolf?
I would hope not, because he's a national treasure.
I suspect he's a man that also has a great sense of humor at this point of his life. Or at least I really hope for his sake that he does.
I would think so at this point.
So what we're really here to talk about this time are the kind of offensive t-shirts that a lot of people are wearing in an attempt to be all gritty and like, look at how gritty my sense of humor is. When in fact what they're just doing is coming across as being offensive because they're assholes.
Yeah.
And people seem to have forgotten that there's a big difference between, like, you're not George Carlin because you've got a t-shirt that says, I hate fangirls for all practical purposes. George Carlin was a really funny man that made great social humor and wonderful commentary, and you're just a guy wearing hate on a shirt.
Yeah, and it's really ironic, because they like to be the people where it's like, oh, I can say anything I want. And then, like, if you don't like what they have to say, then they're the ones that are like, oh, I'm offended now. Now you're attacking my First Amendment right.
Alright.
Viewer. Let me tell you, if you don't already, well, if you're watching this show, obviously you're smarter and you already know.
It's true.
But
we
if
have
you're
the
showing,
smartest viewers ever.
yeah, if you're showing this,
you came here for enlightenment.
Yeah, but if you're showing this to somebody else, you just stumbled upon this, you know, trying to find some other video on the YouTube. But anyway, the First Amendment protects your speech from the government. Period. That is all. Men in black suits cannot bust down your door, Patriot Act aside, and haul you away for the words that you have said. That is all it is. It does not mean that if you tell your boss that he's an asshole, that he can't fire you. There's still consequences for what you say.
And this is the number one thing that these guys seem to have completely misunderstood the actual Constitution about. They seem to think that their First Amendment rights are a right to not only say something really offensive, but force you to stand there and listen as they explain it. Which, that's not how it works. If someone walks up and like, hey cunt, your dress is too short, hope you get raped tonight. That's horrible. You shouldn't say things like that, and I don't have to listen to it, or your explanation for why you think it's the funniest thing in the universe.
Yeah, they're probably the only ones laughing, and everyone's like, yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere not by that person now.
Yeah. So let's give you a little bit of background on the whole Dickwolves thing, because a lot of you, hopefully at this point, are like, I think I might have heard of that, but I don't understand.
I'm on the show, and I thought that they were trying to lambast executive producer and Law & Order series creator Dick Wolf.
I love science fiction. That doesn't mean I actually actively hate Law & Order, though.
Yeah. So yes, please.
But no, we're not trying to besmirch the good name of Mr. Dick Wolf.
In fact, I think you have a lovely name, and I love the fact that you go by that instead of Mr. Richard Wolf or something.
Yeah, I didn't have the same ring. But basically it has to do with the Penny Arcade cartoon that came out, I don't know, X amounts ago.
We'll call it 3.
Yeah. So basically they had a fictional character, I think he was in hell, he's a Dick Wolf, and he raped somebody, and people got offended, and they thought, like, this is terrible. And instead of just apologizing, or even ignoring it, even if just ignoring it and going upon their day, they decided to make a t-shirt out of this character that people found highly offensive, because not everyone finds rape jokes funny, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So they made the t-shirt, it became kind of a movement for people that are pretty much just sexist assholes, and they decided, they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally a Dick Wolf.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I'm not thrilled with the Penny Arcade guys for making it in the first place. It's a pretty insensitive thing to do, but really the people that get me are the people that buy it, because they're not buying it to defend Penny Arcade's constitutional rights, no matter what they claim. They're buying it because they're like, hey, you know how offended you can be? You know how offended you can be? Look at me so I can show you how offended you can be! I can offend you more than that! More! And it's just their way of publicly screaming at you about how offensive they can be, because they've confused their First Amendment rights for a social pass that says I don't have to actually behave kindly to other human beings. And that's not how it works at all. Not even close.
Maybe they probably have a problem with literacy. apparently they don't understand how these rules work. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's just like, yeah, they want to be the people that is like, oh, I can say anything that I want, I can. It's funny because they're like, they can offend you, that's fine as far as they're concerned, but you can't say anything back, and then that's when they get all defensive.
If, for example, he had a Dickwolf t-shirt on, we'll do a scenario for people, and my opinion of it was like, yeah, that wasn't even a funny comic.
They'd be like, oh, how dare you say that?
Not funny.
And then you explain.
You have no sense of humor.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is, and they seem to think that that's the worst insult they can give, you have no sense of humor, like, or I could actually go watch someone legitimately funny. I've got Netflix over there is full of great stand-up comedy that I can watch anytime I want, and they're better at it than you are, dude. Yeah, it's really frustrating. Just because these guys are assholes. What you put on your shirt does matter, is what we're saying. It matters because, first off, if you are an asshole, it's a giant billboard that says, hey everybody, stay away from me, I'm probably going to be the worst person you met this weekend. So, I suppose we should be grateful for that.
Yeah, a little bit it is good, because then you know who to avoid.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. I like Bill Murray.
And Bill Murray doesn't like you.
But second, it's a way of trying to filter people at conventions by being needlessly offensive at them. You're not Martin Luther King because you're wearing a Dickwolf t-shirt or an I Hate Fangirls t-shirt. You're not up there defending some sort of great civil rights movement. You're literally just wearing a billboard that says hate on it in great big offensive looking letters and drawings. And I don't know why you think that people should respect you for that.
Yeah, and I just want to mention the whole fangirl thing. So for those that don't know, I like fangirls, like I like coffee, I hate coffee, and they're trying to say like, oh, we mean fangirls that are obsessed about whatever fandom they are. And like, it's the same thing as fanboys, even though like you had mentioned, the fanboy t-shirt just happened to come out afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, we know what you're saying. You obviously don't want females to attend comic conventions or any conventions or be part of fandom because it's exclusive for you and all your dudes and manly friends, and because that's totally what you're about. But it's just like, come on, guys. I like fangirls. If you're a fangirl, I like you. We're cool. It's just stupid. It makes me irate, especially because it's like growing up. Like there were so few girls that were into like comics or any of this stuff. Now they're like everywhere, and it's like,
why are people trying to scare them away?
Yeah.
The number one thing that I still hear from guys, one of the books I have out there is How to Meet Geek Women. I have guys constantly asking like, where can I find a girlfriend that's into the same stuff that I'm into? He's married. He's good. But I have single guys asking me that all the time. And my answer is usually like, well, we've got whole episodes of my answers to that. But
watch them.
Yes, valuable stuff. But the point being that the number one thing that you can do is not be an asshole. Like if you're the type of guy that's wearing a Dickwolf t-shirt, you don't have a girlfriend because you're a dick. Not because women don't like the same stuff you do. And if you're a genuinely like pleasant human being who's fun to be around and you're like, man, why am I drowning in cock over here? Where are the ladies? It's because of the guy in the Dickwolf t-shirt who apparently has such small self-esteem that the only thing he can do to make himself feel good is scare people away from his fandom. How does that help anybody?
Yeah. That pisses me off. You're ruining it for me.
I feel like they're just living trolls.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's all it is. It's like they want to go, like you said, like they're advertising that they're hating. It's like, that's appropriate for the Play Haters Ball, but any other context, that's, it's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will just say this. I'm a very heavily opinionated person, but out in public, I don't like to share my opinions with people that I'm not quite yet comfortable around, which is kind of ironic because I do this show. But regardless,
and I make him deeply uncomfortable.
And I'm not saying don't go and make yourself look like an idiot. By all means, if you feel like you want to go out into the public at the Comic-Con conventions and uncensor yourself in front of everybody, go ahead. But at least be well informed in your ignorance. And be prepared. Don't just go out there and say, I like coffee like my women, I hate women, or whatever the hell it said. And then just be like, and then drop mic. Because someone's going to pick that mic and do either talk it back to you, or they're going to start, beating you with it and hammer fisting you. I don't know, it just frustrates me because it's just such
Okay,
I have an anger fart in my head.
Well, to
right
that
now.
point, it's like, okay, so people that want to act like this are like, I can say whatever I want, I got First Amendment rights, bro. It's like, yeah, you do, but people also have the right to be offended. People also have the right to tell you to shut your mouth, you know? It's like, just
your
because...
First Amendment rights stop at my ears.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Or his ears, or his for that matter, or, I don't know, whatever random creatures happen to be abiding my part. The real point is, no one has to listen to you. You can talk all you want on your soapbox. No one is obligated to listen. And that's the thing that frustrates these guys most.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if they come up and just like, look at my anger and rage! Why are you not more offended at it?
And you're just like,
Pretty much, that is what drives them the most nuts. And so here's our call to action. Our call to action is, if you actually want to see conventions be a more welcoming, fun place to go, when you see a guy with a t-shirt, and they're almost always guys, sometimes women, but 90% of the time it's going to be a guy, don't play into it. Look at, especially if you're a dude, just look at it with scorn.
It's like, psst.
Or, especially if you were with other guys. Like, if it's a couple of guys, and you're like, see that asshole over there? That's all you gotta say. Like, dude, that's not cool.
It's like, dude, a dire wolf will totally tear up a Dickwolf.
Or something like that. Just make it clear that you do not actually, and you don't have to engage with them. The shorter the better. Nothing but a scoff. Oh my goodness, scorn is such a wonderful commodity that people do not use enough. Because I think the number one thing that your average person at these conventions is afraid of is not being liked and not being approved of. What you need to do as men, because it's not going to work if I do it. These guys don't consider me human. They barely consider him human. They probably still actually consider 5/8 human, because a lot of them are pretty racist as well as sexist. But the men need to come out and say to other men, dude, that's not cool. You can keep it as brief as dude, that's not cool, or just, scorn and scoffing. It is so effective, and it is a beautiful thing when I have witnessed it. Like, you can be a 5'4" skinny-ass guy next to someone who's, 6'7", and like, yeah, okay, if he's 6'7", he's at a convention, he's probably also 400 pounds and none of it's muscle, but just being honest there. Little dude just kind of looks up at him and is like, have you ever been laid? And like, I love you, random guy in
the waterworks start.
Yeah.
No.
Because, I mean, what do you think you're protecting yourself from by trying to force all the women away? Clearly you're trying to protect your virginity, because heaven forbid the women come and take it from you.
It's under lock and key. They're afraid.
Maybe they can go to purity balls with their daddies.
I just heard about those recently.
That's what we need to do with all the guys in the Dickwolves and the anti-fangirl t-shirts, is send them, I guess it would be their mommies, send them to the purity ball with their mommy, or with their comic book shop owner.
Oh, there you go. They can take each other, actually.
That's true.
And that way it can be all dudes, and they'll be secure.
Mm-hmm. And their dudeness.
Yeah, and their dudeness. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
So,
dudes and balls. And dick
dudes and balls. Do we really need to say anything more than that? The one thing that I would say that we should say is, it's great to wear your fandom on your t-shirt. It's the easiest way to get into a conversation at a convention, or in any type of social setting. If I see him sitting in this, I'm at a coffee shop, I don't know him, I'm like, hey, so did you cry when Ned Stark got his head cut off?
Still crying.
We've got a conversation going from that. If I see him over there, I'm like, I like Bill Nye better than Bill whoever the heck's on your t-shirt. And then he's never going to talk to me again. But that's not the point. The point is, I tried to start a conversation. I saw the word Bill and automatically went to something cool.
Murray.
But...
It was a Ghostbuster.
And so you should do that. You should definitely go ahead and use your clothes to advertise what you're into, to encourage other people to talk to you. But if what you're into is hate, go away!
Yeah.
No one has to talk to you because you're the thing that you're wearing. I mean, you might as well just wear a shirt like, I hate everything. I hate everything might actually get you more people talking to you.
Yeah, most definitely, actually.
So don't say that.
That's like more charm than that.
There will be another girl who will be like, I hate everything too. Let's go out for some coffee.
Let's go hate together. Yeah.
The problem is when people like that get together, they don't actually hate the same stuff. Very few people actually hate everything. Turns out people tend to hate a small collection of things, and there's nothing they hate more than people that hate a similar but not identical collection of things. So yeah, what you wear does matter, because it's your billboard, and it's how you choose to be judged as well. In addition to your First Amendment right stopping at your t-shirt, I would say your right to be offended at the way other people judge you stops at the way you dress as well. If I'm wearing something like, I know what my weight is. If I decide I'm going to go out in a skin-tight spandex outfit, I better be willing to be judged by that because I chose to leave the house like that. That was my conscious decision. If you're, instead of a Stark t-shirt, I can't think of something properly offensive to put you in.
A Lannister t-shirt.
Exactly. You're gonna be judged by that. It's like, dude, you're not even blonde. Shouldn't you be supporting Dorne? So decide consciously. Don't just go on autopilot and grab random things out of the fridge.
We're hungry.
If that's where you store your clothes, you've got other problems. But don't just randomly pull things out of the closet. Don't just accept whatever t-shirts other people give you. This is your personal billboard. This is how you're going to be judged. Use it wisely.
Exactly. No Dickwolfing around here.
And you can always protect your virginity from the sanctity of your own home. If you can't control yourself in public, sirs.
There's always purity Dickwolf balls.
Yeah.
That's what they should do. The Dickwolves should all get together and host their own special purity Dickwolf balls.
They really should.
And what would they do with something like that? I mean, they're not going to dance because that would involve the risk of touching another dude.
They probably would just sit there and talk about all the stuff they hate. Like, oh man, I'm so glad there's no chicks here. This is so awesome. And they'd probably just hold each other.
I don't think they would. I'm thinking that they would probably have like a 4-foot space barrier around each one. Maybe they'd have like a hula hoop thing attached to their belt so they couldn't actually accidentally.
I think it would start where everyone's far away, but by the end it'd just be a big mosh pit.
Now, mosh pit like they're all beating each other up?
More of a file.
Oh, furries, we're sorry. It's all gonna come back to comparing things to furry files.
But anyway.
So, what we want from you with our usual call to action is A, get out there and tell people, dude, that's not cool. You can keep it that simple, or just scoff. Scoffing is a beautiful thing. You should practice it more when people are wearing Dickwolf t-shirts. And 2, let us know in the comments, because we like to encourage trolls apparently, the most offensive shirts you've seen out there and the best responses you've seen to them. We would love to see that in the comments.
Do it. Dickwolves.
Dun dun.